most of my working life I haven't even voted for anybody. I think it was when I got to about 50 years old. That was the moment. Perhaps I had more time, or even if it weren't more time, maybe I was more confident in my work, more settled and secure in my work, so that my mind could explore perhaps other areas. Like I say, I wasn't very interested in politics, but I did remember, and anyone my age should remember, Margaret Thatcher, when she came to power and was the Prime Minister, or Mrs. Prime Minister. I remember on the television saying that we should join the common market. This is the European Union of today, but she used to call it the common market. It would help sort of free trade between our countries. Because if we used to trade across the borders, I don't know, potatoes in exchange for linen, or cars in exchange for diamonds or tractors or whatever, across the border, there would always be a tax on it. That's it, governments again. So what they wanted to do was they wanted to drop the taxes that were associated with trade across borders in Europe. This was the common market. This was the future common market that we were looking at. We was all going to have more employment, there'd be more businesses, there'd be far more import and export businesses, and they'd make more profit because of the common market agreement. So what are we? I don't know. Have a guess. 20 years later? Is it 20 years? It might be 20 years later. We've got the European Union, and it's got its own parliament in Brussels. Why has it got a parliament? I'm starting to think now. It should be the headquarters of the European Union, or the headquarters of the common market. It should be, you know, a reasonable, affordable office block, not a massive parliamentary building with hundreds and hundreds of seriously well paid people pushing agendas that we don't want. Okay, so getting political. Someone emailed me, no they didn't, they messaged me, and they said, a friend of mine said, don't get so heated about it, Mick, because it's all over. David Cameron and the Conservatives are now back in number 10, back in power. He said, it's all over, UKIP's finished, forget about it. So I just messaged him back, and I said, I can't forget it. I'm now a political person. Common market in Europe, yes. Eurozone with their own parliament in Brussels telling us what to do and charging us £140 million a day to do it. I don't think so. UKIP or no UKIP, I'm going to support the person who wants to keep us very, very far away from Angela Merkel and the Parliament in Brussels. You might think it's absolutely nothing to do with me, but it's a lot to do with me, and it's a lot to do with you as well. How would you like it, you know, if they say you can't sell bent bananas? I think they tried to do it with cucumbers, didn't they? I don't think we are allowed to sell bent cucumbers. But what about other things? You know, what about if they turn around in a few years' time and said we can't sell our own cars? Let's say we had to export all of our cars we make and import all of their cars. This sounds ridiculous, but this is a likelihood. Things like that could happen. Oh yeah, and I was saying on YouTube, I found last night, the constitutional makeup of the parliamentary powers of the European government cannot be investigated by any exterior source. Yeah, I know, words are a little bit twisted there, but they have made their own law to protect themselves from any other country's law in case they make a mistake or a deliberate mistake. No one here, not in our government,